Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the shop. Today I have an awesome video planned for you. We are kicking off this channel with the first project build series, and that's going to be with this well-neglected 2001 Yamaha Superjet that I just recently picked up off of Facebook Marketplace for a grand total of $2,550. And I think that's a really solid deal when it comes to a round nose Superjet. I did get a title, it does run, and also it's 100% bone stock, which is a good thing in my opinion. So I got big plans for this thing. I'd like to get it cosmetically and mechanically sound for the up and coming summer. So let's jump right into it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and if you guys like power sport related builds very similar to this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. So let's jump right into it, guys. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, so before we get started on this project and get this thing cleaned up, I just want to start by doing a quick little walk around, just kind of show you guys the overall condition of this thing. When I went and looked at it, I was actually very surprised at the condition of it. The pictures this guy had posted were not great by any means, and also it's the middle of winter, so I think that's part of the reason why I got such a good deal. And it just looked worse in pictures than it actually is, which is not usually the case. Usually it's the opposite of that. So the overall hull condition of this thing is in really good shape as far as not having any big gouges or scrapes. There's, you know, your typical scratches on the bottom of this thing, but there's nothing real deep. There's no big gouges missing on this thing. It's just basically faded out in certain areas, so it's kind of weird. Like, some of it's faded and some of it's pretty glossy yet, so I'm guessing maybe it sat on a dock, you know, maybe it had a tarp that was torn, who knows. But the body's in really good shape. So the round nose Superjets, they had a SMC bottom half, which stands for sheet molded compound, and then the upper part of the hull was actual fiberglass gel coat. So I've had real good luck in the past with buffing gel coat back to a good shine, so I'm hoping that'll be the case on this machine. So we'll probably try to wet sand and buff all this top half of the hull here, and hopefully we'll get it to a good shine. But pieces like this front plastic nose piece, that's definitely got to be replaced. And then of course there is the dreaded, very common hood paint peel on this thing. Very common issue for the round nose Superjet. From what I understand is that Yamaha did not do a good job getting the mold release off of these hoods before they were painted. And so all these round nose Superjets, most of them, except for extremely nice ones, most of the hood paint is flaked off on these things. So that's a common issue, guys. We're gonna have to strip it and repaint it. I think that'll go pretty well. It's in pretty good shape, but you know, I think the most difficult part of that is gonna be matching up this blue. So it's quite a blue, it's pretty purpley slash blue, so that should be fun, but we're gonna definitely give it a shot. So this hood's gonna get repainted, and then this handle pull here, guys, it's also paint, I believe, so I doubt I'll be able to get that shining back where we want it, so it's probably gonna get repainted as well. But all these black trim pieces, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with them. Maybe I'll be able to find some reasonably priced better ones, or maybe we can paint them, or who knows. But we're gonna try to get this thing looking good on the outside. Like I said, it's in actually pretty darn good shape, so I'm looking forward to getting started on that. We're gonna pop this hood off, show you guys underneath there. There is some kind of alarming stuff going on under there, so let's do that right now and pull this hood off. All right, guys, so I got the hood off this thing, and there's, you know, not much going on under here. It's your typical Grammy jet ski engine bay. As you can tell, it is 100% bone stock. Like I said earlier, I think that's a good sign. But there's a couple alarming things. Number one, it's got kind of a rust water line, like there was water sitting inside the hole. Now, hopefully you guys can see that. And it's for sure had water sitting inside this engine bay at one time. So that kind of scares me. You know, maybe the engine has been subject to some water damage. Hopefully that is not the case, but it could definitely be the case. And, you know, these two-strokes are pretty resilient to water being in them if you do the right procedure to get it out of them. But who knows, maybe we'll have to open this engine up in the future. So the goals for in here is to get this thing all cleaned up, make sure it's mechanically sound for the summer, like I said. So we definitely need to do a lot of elbow grease in here, guys, do a lot of handwork and get this thing cleaned up. So another thing is, another common issue on these Superjets is the hood seal, guys. This one's shot, so I think that's a pretty common issue on these Superjets as well. So I'm not sure if this has anything to do with that water line. Hard to say, guys. So if you guys have any suggestions on what you think happened to this thing, drop it in the comments below. But In my opinion, guys, we're gonna try to just run it as it is, but I definitely want to get it cleaned up underneath the hood here. I do not want to have an engine bay that looks this dirty, so we're gonna try to get this thing cleaned up, guys, but that'll be in a future episode on getting this thing up in shape on the maintenance side of things. So I am gonna hook this battery up. I want to give you guys a nice sound clip on this machine. It's got that great two-stroke sound, so let's get on to hooking the battery up, and then let's start getting the outside of this thing cleaned up. All right, guys, so this battery calls for a 10 millimeter. I like to unhook them when I'm not gonna be using these things, just to make sure there's no discharge when there shouldn't be. And hopefully this battery has some charge in it. This is actually out of one of my Kawasaki X2s, which is another stand-up jet ski. Hopefully it's got some juice in it. I did not get a good battery with this machine, which is pretty common when buying stuff. But I do not want to purchase one until we're pretty close to being ready to take this to the lake. So hopefully we'll get this thing to fire off, guys. If not, we'll get the jump box. There is some really crappy old gas in this thing, so who knows, but we're gonna get her to fire for you one way or the other. So I was able to get this thing to fire up. It took a little bit of cranking. I'm guessing the fuel had drained back in the fuel line, so it took a little while to get that fuel back up to the carburetors, but once it did, it fired right up. So I'm gonna fire it up for you guys so you can hear her run. I don't know about you guys, but this thing sounds awesome. It's definitely crisp. You gotta love these old two-strokes. They are a blast. So that's enough of messing around with getting this thing running. So what do you say we start making this thing look a little better? So let's jump right into getting this thing cleaned up. I wanna start by taking these decals off. So let's go get that trusty old Harbor Freight heat gun and start removing these, and then let's give this thing a bath. So let's jump right into it, guys. So initially I was gonna take all the decals off and start with a clean slate, but I noticed that some of them are in pretty good shape, and that's mainly the ones that are in areas where the paint is not real faded. So we're gonna keep them on, but we are gonna remove a bunch of them that are damaged. So real quick, I just wanna show you my setup, guys. It's real simple if you've removed decals or not. I use a Harbor Freight heat gun, very cheap, very affordable. And also, I like to use this stuff, guys, this general purpose adhesive remover from 3M. Now, this is not a real harsh solvent, so it's pretty safe on most paints, and it does not evaporate real quick. So it stays around, which helps get that adhesive broke down. So then I just wipe off the extra with a rag. But one thing, guys, on OEM graphics, there won't be a lot of residue left behind because they are a very high quality graphic. Now, cheaper aftermarket graphics, you know, like a Weisco piston sticker or whatever, there's a good chance you'll have to clean some adhesive off of something like that. But for the most part, guys, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. I am gonna put you on a time lapse, so let's jump right into it. Alrighty, guys, so I got all the decals off I was wanting to get off. I was able to save quite a few, so I think that'll save us some money, and I think they'll clean up real nice with the buffer. So my goal is to just probably keep this thing OEM looking on the outside for now. So we'll try to replace the graphics we removed with OEM factory ones. So normally I would roll this thing outside and use a pressure washer on it, but today it's very chilly outside, so I'm very lucky to have a floor drain. So we're gonna go ahead and just stick to the good old garden hose. So let's get this thing rolled over the floor drain and get this baby cleaned up. Alrighty guys, so that's gonna be it for today's episode. This thing is starting to look a whole lot better already, but we sure got a long ways to go. So I just wanna say thanks for watching, especially if you made it this far into the video. And I wanna say, if you guys got any suggestions for this thing on what I should do to it, please drop them in the comments below. So we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.